guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
things I hate about living in the US. Let's see what this person hates.
Erica.
Oh! That's funny.
Okay, these memes are kind of accurate though.
No, they're actually from here.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, some of them. Yeah. Like especially
like this meme is not AI.
Right. But the most accurate for me, the one I saw was like the fat guy with the gun. That's like very. If you wanna.
I've never seen that before.
I've never seen that either. But you know the stereotypes: Americans, gun lovers, and fat. So that kind of summarizes the country. Funny.
Land of the free, home of the brave, and the place where I spent 9 years of my life. It is a vast country with diverse landscapes, gigantic cities, with millions of people from all walks of life, which truly makes the country a place like no other, because of which there's so many things to love about it. However, this video is not.
Maybe he has a video what he loves about living there. That would be interesting to see too, because if he only did hate, that's kind of, well, I guess if he really hated, yeah, but it would be interesting to see love as well.
Not about that, but all the things that really soured my pickle while living in the country. If you wanted to do a part 2 about all the things I loved about living in the US, let me know in the comment section down below. So, without further ado, let's begin. Now, one of the first things that really went off my nerves while living in the land of cardiovascular complications is the weather. Before you say anything...
Oh, but that's depending where you live.
Yeah,
that's not the whole country. The weather is so different.
And you also have opportunities of different climates.
Yes, you can always go to another state, yeah.
Yes, America is a huge country with a bunch of different climates and biomes where the weather can vary quite drastically from state to state. However, that's not going to stop me from bitching. I, like any other Eastern European immigrant who is too poor to afford living in New York or LA, ended up in the Midwest, more precisely, the Great Lakes region. And the...
Yes, it's cold, it snows, the winters are harsh.
You know, a lot of Eastern Europeans, they love Illinois, historically speaking.
Yeah, because it's good for work. It's good help, you know, for work. But yeah, the weather, it's... And I believe he's Serbian, or like he's from the Balkans, so he's used to a little warmer climate. So
I see.
you know, Chicago is a little colder for him. So
it's
I can see why he don't like. From Lithuania, Chicago is very much Lithuanian climate. So
I would think he would be excited to be in Illinois because it's a different climate from what he's used to. You get to see snow.
Sure, it's cold.
I don't know.
It's cold.
Absolute worst part about living there was the goddamn weather. If you're a person whose favorite season is winter and watching it outside of your window while snuggled up in your little blankie with a hot beverage by your side, after moving to the Midwest,
I like the idea of winter.
On average, each winter...
Yes, what's nice about winter is the idea of winter. That's very nice. Actually living in winter.
You get to do winter fashion, you get to wear boots, a sweater.
Winter is fun for 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks of snow is fun. After that,
the thing I think I wouldn't like is driving in. I don't think I would drive in snow.
Yeah, the driving is dangerous too. Yeah, but yeah, okay, it's his video, whatever.
The region gets between 100 to 120 centimeters of snowfall.
See,
if it gets hit with a polar vortex, like it is often known to happen, you can expect even more, going anywhere between 254 to 317 centimeters. And let me tell you, there's nothing like seeing a bunch of this white bullshit falling from the heavens that will ruin my day. Instead of feeling comfy at home, you're forced to get your ass out and spend the next several hours shoveling the bolts off the sidewalk.
I always see in the movies that they shovel and they put salt on the snow. I wonder if it really works, or it's like, it makes it worse.
Salt?
Yes.
Salt makes it melt, yeah. That's what you do to melt the, it's so salt. But he was in Michigan, not Illinois.
Yet Saul Goodman called up on your ass if some bozo who doesn't know how to walk slips on your property and breaks his skull and somehow makes it your fault. And you know this wouldn't be that bad if you had...
I don't know the law, but I guess if he walks past your pavement, I don't know.
Had to do it so often, but as it snows
now, I would say, I don't know if he's going to include it, but one reason to what you could hate is exactly what we just talked about, that everybody just sues anybody for anything. Now that you can hate,
so much, more often than not, you have to get out and clear the driveway and sidewalk several times in a day, and spend even more time clearing the sack of white shit. Also, because this region is incredibly car dependent, you, with no surprise, have to use your car daily to basically go anywhere. And because Eve had to eat that goddamn apple in the Garden of Eden, God just had to curse the region with this crap. So, when you're driving on the freeway...
Well, yeah, but Europe has the same thing though. Like in more northern Europe is the same thing. So this is not, it's not the United States only.
Or hell, even the streets. When it starts snowing, it becomes incredibly dangerous as your car can go into an autistic meltdown and crash into the closest traffic light or highway ramp. So, on a somewhat daily basis, in your commute, you can see turned over cars in the winter that lost control due to the ice and snow on the roads. And of course, the city service do clean the snow and defrost the ice. But again, it snows so frequently that sometimes there's just that risk of that happening. Because of which, I perfectly sympathize and empathize with this man who used a flamethrower to clear this white crap off his driveway.
Did it
I
work?
salute you, Kentucky man.
Wood? Why not? It melts it. It's the heat.
And of course,
Never seen it, but that's a great idea. And actually a useful use for flamethrower. But I didn't know flamethrowers exist in real life. I thought it was a video game thing.
a lot of parts of America don't even have snow. However, they have the sun and scorching temperatures that even melt the street signs. Unless you live in a certain couple of spots with perfect climate in the country, you most likely will have some grievances with nature. Now, I'm sure this one's gonna ruffle up some non-existent feathers, but at the end of the day, it's my video and I can talk about whatever I want. And no, Dad, it's not just a phase. YouTube is a real job. I didn't want to go into finance. You can't make me. Anyways, ever since like the 1920s or so, America has been in a culture war, which encompasses a wide variety of political issues that has progressively evolved and become ever so prominent in day-to-day life in the country. Particularly since 2012 and the adoption of the internet and social media into everyday life, it too has become quite prevalent and practically unavoidable in your everyday life, especially if you live in a big city. Essentially, everyone and everything is constantly trying to shove their political beliefs down your throat, be it via Black Lives Matter banners and pride flags hanging on storefronts, lawn signs saying Trump 2024, or a bumper of a car being showered in political stickers to own the conservatives or libs or whoever the hell. As a militant centrist, it is quite annoying to be constantly exposed to political beliefs of strangers who just have to tell the world, despite no one asking. And if this was just the case with stupid stickers and signs, that would be fine. However, both at school and work in America, you also get this culture war bullshit shoved down your throat. For example, when I was in my junior year in high school, I had this English teacher who, on the first day of the school year, asked us to write an essay about ourselves. I wrote one about what my passions are, my hobbies, and stuff like that. When I got back my essay, I got a grade lower from an A because I didn't write about my experience of being Serbian, which the teacher wrote on my paper. Now, I didn't mention anything in the essay about my nationality, and the teacher only knew of it because she asked me where I was from because she noticed my accent. And it's something that really pissed me off because ultimately, the other shit about me didn't seem to matter just because of my experience as X group. And this wasn't an isolated incident. Throughout my school years, I've had numerous different teachers in high school where one announced, we're not even going to go over American writers in our literature class because, and I quote, they're white old men, and there's already enough literature from their point of view. And regardless of class, be it English, history, psychology, or whatever, the teachers would bring up identity politics, the elections, Orange Man bad, etc. And I really despised it. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with having strong political beliefs, but man, I came to school to learn, not to have some fucking middle-aged person's political beliefs shoved down my throat and have to look at political banners in my state-run school, which I'm obligated to spend.
Yeah, I do think that's true. I don't remember like politics being such a big thing in Lithuania that it is here. Here it's like people like politics, like their political identity is their lives. Like you describe, like literally, like you describe a person by, oh, that's like a Trump supporter. You know?
I think it's like really depends on your environment. I feel like in school we didn't have like teachers to push like their ideological beliefs. I think that's just his experience that he's speaking on, but it shouldn't be a blanket statement for like, oh, this is what it's like in US.
I haven't had the experience either, but it is kind of like how they're pushing in the southern states. They want to like force like the Pledge of Allegiance or whatever, you know, like that type of stuff. To do the religious stuff to kids that they have to do, like the 10 Commandments or something they're trying
that's
to do.
Like specific schools.
Right,
I don't
but
think that's all schools.
Of course it's not all schools, yeah, but that's, you know, that's what he's kind of trying to say.
And also there's like cases where if that does happen in your school, it's being challenged. So it's just like everyone is debating what's the right thing to do.
It's being challenged.
But at the end of the day, in the United States, you can't put one religious belief and advance it over others. Everyone has to be fair. So that's the contest.
You can, but that's what they're trying to do, and that's what Kant is saying, that everybody's pushing their political beliefs onto the, well, in this case, the students.
6 hours of my...
Well, not everyone.
It's not everyone.
Not everyone, yeah.
I went to school here in the U.S. too.
But some people are trying to.
There's always going to be someone. Okay, that's the whole thing. The point is to have an option where you have protection under the law, where there's some checks and balances. Period.
My day in. At work, this also happened, although not as extremely. Yeah, you'd have your sensitivity training, and if you worked at some more progressive office, you'd have some other type of cultural war, political BS training as well.
That happens.
But it mainly manifested.
Okay, when it happens at work, all it takes one person, and which always does, but it takes only one person to go report it to HR, and it's over, done.
Via the coworkers often bringing up these topics, which wasn't as bad as in other aspects of daily life, but still annoying. Speaking of work, since I was 15, I worked a variety of service jobs in the U.S. up until I was 18 when I left. Throughout that time, one of the things that really got my nerves...
I think it can be annoying if that's all they talk about with you, but it's not out of the realm or strange if that's the time that the information, the topic is relevant, you know? You know what I'm saying? Because if something comes out of left field and they ask you about your political beliefs, that's kind of weird, like out of nowhere. But right now, this is like all they talk about in the news and media. So it's like not strange, I would say.
This was the work culture and etiquette. A lot of the times, the managers they had egos large enough to reach the moon. Many acted as if they were training a platoon of elite Navy SEALs and not met.
But also, it's interesting. He said he left after like high school. So he left and he was like, basically his experience, I guess, what he's describing is him as a teenager. I think he never had an adult experience in here. That's a little different, though. Too.
What would be different?
I mean, as a teenager, you're more sensitive to things.
I think so.
Yeah. So he, I didn't know that. I thought he lived here as an adult too.
Managing a team of 16-year-old cashiers and shelf stockers at Walmart who were just there to make enough money to buy a used-up 2007 Toyota. The lower management would take their positions way too seriously and definitely look down on you because, hey, they earn just a couple more dollars than you. At the workplace, they, and also the bosses, would insist you constantly do something even if the place was better than a 70-year-old uterus. They'd love to say things such as, if you have time to lean, you have time to clean, and other similar slogans. For contrast, before my channel blew up, at the places I worked in Serbia, including McDonald's and an accounting office, the management was much more chill and acted as one of the crew rather than above it. If there was nothing to do, no one would scream at you to pretend to be busy to save some sort of face. Sure, the salaries were a
That's the problem
joke,
here in the States, because even with my working experience is that when they see it's slow or not much to do, they start cutting people. So the trick for that is that you have to look like you're doing something, because then we can't cut her. She's doing something. There must be some importance to it, so we're not gonna let her go. So I didn't like that too much.
Your employers would treat you with much more dignity. The other thing about work culture that particularly sucks is the forced happiness. If you work in the service industry in America, you are forced to put on a smile, make small talk with customers, and
forced happiness. You basically have to be nice to.
I mean, I feel like this everywhere, don't you think? So in Europe, you could just be a jerk and you're working.
Not a jerk, but like the cashiers wouldn't smile all the time like they do here.
So when you go to like a store, there's like a baseline at least. Like you're not always at that baseline. Sometimes you're under that baseline. So I think there's like a baseline of happiness. Like for you to like welcome guests. If they have any questions, you help them. That kind of assistance.
I would say they're not as helpful. Like,
so if a customer's like, where is this?
Yeah, they would say, oh, I don't know.
But you work here.
But they don't work in this department. But that happens here too, though. They say, I don't know, I don't work in this department. Like, like, you know, in Walmart, how they have the pickers for Walmart Plus. Like, I asked them, oh, where's this? They're like, oh, I don't know, I don't work here. Like, they work in a separate department, you know. So I guess it does happen here too.
Kind of like you care about whatever they have to say. As at restaurants, the servers come and check up on you every 10 to 15 minutes to see if you need anything, and it's quite annoying because I just want to enjoy my meal and have a nice conversation with whoever I'm with.
When I'm working, it would be nice when someone asks you something, because then okay, it's something that breaks the norm from the daily tasks that you have to do, because sometimes it can get kind of robotic. So interaction with people would be actually quite kind of good.
If I need you, I'll just put up my hand and tell you if I need
The only thing is bad
Meanwhile,
is when the
retail,
person
a lot
is
of the time, if
outrageous.
you work in
Oh,
some
no.
major department store, you're forced to try and sell their credit cards to customers, even though neither you nor them give two shits about it. The business and services in the U.S. are quite efficient, especially compared.
That is annoying when those people that harass you in the store that sign up for this, sign up for like at Costco, sign up for Costco credit card, they come and like harass you or like.
And sometimes they don't care if you actually qualify for
Yeah,
it.
they just want to get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
Sometimes they ask you to lie.
That is annoying.
Compared to Eastern Europe, but the work culture is a bit toxic and quite stressful, which overall makes it quite a bad experience.
Shit, cook! It's over, cook! Hey, cook, we got the goddamn minutes of car here, so...
I'm European, you knew this was coming. I know you've heard this criticism a million times by European liberals who have EU flags next to their name on Twitter and revel in the smell of their own farts. However, again, it's my video and I can bitch all I want. Anyways, the vast majority of cities in America are car-centric by design. If you want to go do anything, you gotta sit in the car, otherwise prepare to walk 30 to 40 minutes to the nearest grocery store. This aspect in particular can be quite a pain in the ass, especially if you're not old enough to drive or can't afford a second car in your household. Yeah, there usually exists a bus system, but the bus usually comes every 20 minutes, and because the cities are so spread out, a lot of the time you have to switch buses, which can take quite a bit of time to get to your desired destination. Still, beats walking, but again, not ideal. Also, it can also be quite of an inconvenience and even dangerous if you decide to go out to a bar with friends, because you have to drive back home. Getting drunk at a bar can end in several ways. Number one person is designated as a designated driver and can't join the fun. Number two, you have to call a taxi/Uber to take you home and spend a chunk of change on that. Or number three, run the risk of drunk driving, which can endanger you and especially others. Because of this, in the rural areas, drunk driving is a particular issue. What really sucks about
Was that Eminem?
No.
Oh.
this is that not all parts of the city are like this. In the older historic parts, the walkability still exists, as there are mixed commercial and housing zones.
Yeah.
However, a lot
I
of
think
this
that's what
housing
gives
is
it that
single family.
European feel when you have those mixed zones. Whereas here in the States, you have like areas where it's just residentials, and that's far out from the actual city.
Homes, which were great up until World War II, but after the baby boom, the new populace was forced out into the suburbs and by default condemned to the car. Also, cities like New York and San Francisco are extremely walkable and prove that such a system can exist in the country. And a lot of people also really advocate for the zoning laws to change and for more dense housing to be built to allow for this change. However, the same people, when faced with having the zones in their neighborhood be built, suddenly become NIMBYs and completely backtrack. Overall, this was quite frustrating at times and definitely not something
Yeah, I
I
don't
miss.
know how
Last but not least,
practical
we
that
have the
would
city.
be
What?
to have mixed zones here in the States, because I can understand that it's great to have at least a choice to kind of have a little peace and quiet from being in the city, and where it's like, you know, it's a family centered area as opposed to being like in a college where students and hustle and bustle.
These themselves. Of course, America, again, being a large and diverse country in almost every aspect possible, also has a variety of interesting and amusing cities to live in and visit. However, the majority of the cities and towns outside of either the coasts are practically copy-pasted and extremely boring. The architecture is quite uninspiring, being either modern glass skyscrapers or basic single-family houses. If you're in a more chic neighborhood with cafes and artisan shops, practically every building looks like a Minecraft house except with a brick exterior instead of wood. In addition to this, unlike many European cities where you can walk around and do a lot of activities for free or for a very low cost, in the majority of the cities in the US, the majority of entertainment has to be paid for. Sure, you can walk around downtown and the park, but again, because the architecture is so inspiring, this gets old pretty fast. And yeah, those would be some of the things that
What really grinds my gears.
Interesting.
I remember
I don't know. I felt like I haven't really.
No,
I cannot relate to any of these issues.
yeah, that's kind
It's
of
a
my.
little.
I wouldn't
yeah.
have made that video because
Well,
the things he hates, like, it's not like you
he
can't
has his
fix
opinion.
it. No, but it's like all those things you can fix. Like, then you select to be someplace where you want to be, have a walkable city. If you don't like the environment of what people's mindsets are, you move somewhere else. If you don't feel like you want to be happy to be forced happiness to cater to other people, you go on YouTube. You know, that's it. I feel like all these things could be addressed.
Yeah, the first one, the weather, like I don't even. This is not even U.S. exclusive. Yeah, the same weather exists in Asia, in Europe,
These
Canada.
complaints could be said by any country.
Know. Culture war. There is some truth to that, but I personally, I guess maybe because he was like a child.
That's unique to the U.S.
I think so, more so.
Are you kidding me?
U.S. is very divided.
Are you kidding me? There's places all around the world where there is diverse people and they all have to live in one space and they have culture wars. Okay?
Not like that.
I don't know.
U.S. is the most diverse country in the world. That's partly why there is culture wars. But what I'm saying is, I think he maybe felt like so much impact on it because he was a kid. I feel like to me, like the whole politics thing don't bother me really. I don't really care. Like the people that their whole identity is
you don't have to be around them.
Yeah, like don't bother me. War culture. Once again, yeah, I don't know. I can't really relate. And the walkability. I don't know. We have a car. We can drive. Not an issue.
No, he said he wants to be able to walk. Like instead of having like one person forced to be a designated driver or have to do an Uber for it to be.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm used to it at this point. I don't have the need to walk. If I want to go for a walk, I can go for a walk. But the car just saves time, so I don't know.
Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord, and always share as much kindness as possible.